Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2018 here in Brampton, Ontario. You are looking at the Junior Open Finals right here. In white, we will have Eclipse out of British Columbia facing off against Toro from Toronto wearing the dark. We will begin with player announcements, and then the game will begin shortly. My name is Bretton Tan. I'm joined in the booth with Allison Fisher. And Allison, what can we expect here in this bit of a rematch from earlier in the tournament?
Right, so these two teams have met. They met earlier in the tournament, as you just said. And in that case, Toro came out on top. I talked a little bit with the head coach of Eclipse, and he was mentioning that his team has been feeling a little bit sluggish in the early games in this tournament, possibly due a little bit to the jet lag, but no doubt that he and his other coaches decided to change it up a little bit for today, put a little bit more emphasis on being ready, being prepared for that first game, and they were very successful this morning. They managed to pull out a win against Mofo, 11-9, and so they are looking forward to a great game and a better showing against their opponents this time around.
Absolutely. Eclipse, the BC All-Star team, and the last time they were here, they actually came under a different name of Alpha. This was back in 2015, where they faced off against Toro as well, and Toro getting the better of them there. So now Eclipse with a chance to perhaps exact some revenge for that team back in 2015.
And Toro had, let's say, an easier matchup this morning. They ended up winning their semi against Savage 15-2. So I would not say they've been very tested today, and that actually might show in the opening points of this game, whether they're able to bring the fire and the intensity because they had such an easy time this morning.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. At the same time, that means they've had a lot more rest at this point, having to play fewer points, less grindy ones, ending the game a little bit earlier, so able to perhaps head back to a mall, head back to the hotel, rest up their bodies, and so you can expect them to, once they are firing, they'll be firing at perhaps a higher clip than the Eclipse team. But
yeah, it will be very interesting to see. I think both teams are going to be using the win to their advantage, throwing out some zone or junk looks to test the other team's offensive strengths.
Absolutely. We've seen Eclipse loving to use their zones. They love to mix it up. They have flat zones, they have trap zones, they have four-man zones, they have three-man zones. Any kind of zone you can think of, Eclipse has one of them. It'll be just a matter of which one do they decide to bring out in this key finals matchup.
And if you can notice, one of the head coaches on Eclipse is wearing a suit. Do you want to describe that suit up situation?
I think it's an interesting kind of mental switch that he uses to have his players really check into the game. So he says for him, he's got a business suit as he's the coach. For them, their uniforms, that's their business suit. And so when they're on the field, once the game starts, it's all business. It's time to focus up. It's time to get out there and put in some work.
It's a very interesting mental trick for this team. And on the Toro side, they are also coached by a very experienced head coach, Evan Dimes Phillips. We all know him as he also helps coach the Sixers. So he's going both ways here with the juniors program and then helping the senior women in Toronto as well.
Absolutely. As you guys can hear on the mics, the wind is quite gusty here at the moment. Perhaps as the time starts to dwindle and it gets later into the night, we'll see that calm down. But for now, it will be very, very windy, so both teams will be fighting hard for their upwind breaks, and those will be kind of a prized commodity throughout this game, I can imagine.
Yeah, that will definitely, as we saw in the women's finals, the wind was a big factor. So I have no doubt, even though these are all very skilled throwers, that the wind will play havoc with some of their throws.
Absolutely. They haven't played since about 1 o'clock this morning, or just before that. I believe around 11 o'clock this morning is the last time both these teams played. So the wind has changed a lot since then. They haven't played a lot since then, but both teams were here early, warming up, getting in a lot of throws. So I can imagine a few shots early on being a little miscalculated, but once they dial those in, they'll be firing in both directions, I can imagine. We saw Eclipse shooting some great upwind shots, and so I can only imagine Toro's got something as well up their arsenal.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very exciting game. There are a few players on each side of the roster who are representing Team Canada at the U20 World Championships next week in Waterloo. Those are going to be some key players to watch.
Absolutely. So both teams circling up for their pregame pep talks. Get their boys fired up as this game is just about to start.
It is incredibly windy at this current moment. We may look for the wind to be dying down a little bit as this game progresses. As we've gotten a few nights so far this week, the wind does tend to die down a little bit as we get towards the evening hours.
There'll be just 1 short minute to game time, so make sure you guys have something to eat, have something to drink, have some comfortable seating and a nice screen to watch this game on, because you will not want to turn it off until a champion is crowned. Both these teams guaranteed a medal at this point, but there's only one medal that they want, and that is the gold medal.
I believe we will be having 4 observers for this game. It's always great to have our observers helping us out. They will often look towards the booth to give us what the signal is, what the call is on the field, especially with this wind. It is very hard to hear. We will do our best to echo it as soon as we know what the calls are.
Absolutely. Those observers are Jonathan Nelson, Diego Hori, Alan Baggish, and Nathan Magnus. They've been observing all throughout the week since Sunday, and they've been doing just a fantastic job on the live stream, on the side fields, and so we can expect nothing but the best from them here today in this finals.
So it looks like we are going to be having Eclipse. They are in white on the right side of the screen, and they will be starting off on defense.
And so in true Eclipse fashion, I imagine they come out with a zone, and just a magic question, what kind of zone will we see?
Which zone will it be? As I was talking to Coach Hayduk, he was mentioning that they have 3 variations on their FSU. They have a variation of a Japanese zone, a 3-3-1, a 1-3-3, and they also like to play match D. So, what will it be coming down on this first point?
And as we're just about getting ready to start, it looks like it'll be John Carpenter for Eclipse with the opening pull here to start us off in the Canadian Ultimate Championships Junior Division Open Finals. Here we go.
As you can see with the wind, the pull did not go that far up the field, maybe 3/4 of the way.
This right now we have Campbell Armstrong. He's going to swing it over far side. That was Louis Wang. Does a good job to find Wilkie Lewis downfield. Back now to Campbell Armstrong. Nice shot there. A lot of good pressure. Justin Ray. Justin Ray is going to hit Siva Yogalingam up the line. Toro doing a great job into the end zone, and easy shot there. Nice grab by Louis Wang. Pressure on his back, but he's able to secure that one. And that's a nice easy hold for Toro to start off this match.
Yeah, it didn't look like the wind was affecting them too much on those throws. Everything was pretty clean, not too hard for the receiver to be able to catch those passes. Nice easy flip into the end zone.
And if I'm not mistaken, that might be the first time we've seen Eclipse choose to not opt for that zone look right off the bat. Maybe they understand this wind is strong. A lot of those over the top shots are going to be with perhaps Toro having the man advantage, as you normally play just 1 deep person back, and so maybe not want to take those 50-50s. Instead, try to pressure all of Toro's shots and see how they react.
And as we've seen in several games on the showcase field this week, teams do tend to like to come down in a person set on their first defensive look. Not necessarily because that's the best strategy, but just to get everybody's legs going.
Absolutely. Nathan Ambrose now for Toro with the first pull of their defensive set. We get to see the Eclipse O-line out here early on in the game, see if they can respond with a nice smooth hold of their own.
That's a nice pull.
A fantastic upwind pull there collected by Lucas Hoy. Send it over to Philip Craggle. Toro immediately opting for a slight zone. Looks like a bit of a 2-man cup. Eclipse though doing a fantastic job finding those over the top shots, creating some space. Craggle and Hoy doing a great job here in the backfield to gain some yards as they approach midfield. Nice flip here. It's Justin Tung with the disc. His shot up line though is just going to bounce off of the hands of Preston Lowe, unfortunately.
And as we've seen a lot this week, those passes on this sideline with a flick, they often end up going out of bounds. The wind is very strong.
Nathan Ambrose opted to pick up the disc, and he's going to juice it deep with a lot of float there. That was number 30. That was Oliver Stonehouse looking for that layout grab. Unfortunately, going to give the disc back, but Toro immediately showing they're not afraid to shoot it in either direction.
And that's a great strategy from the coach, asking his players to put it long at the beginning of the game.
Justin Tung facing the zone. He's going to go for a nice play. Nicholas Chang doing a good job to collect that one. Him and Craggle now, a little bit of a give-go. Craggle right now being a center handler, moving the disc a lot, gaining yards. Nathan Ambrose almost picking that one off, but Justin Tung, great focus, beating his man there. Toro still opting for this three-man cup here. A little bit loose. The over-the-top blade is perfect all the way across the field to Nicholas Chang. Lucas Hoy now hitting Philip Craggle in the backfield. Craggle and Hoy doing a great job moving this up just 2 yards at a time, but they're really working it. Now Preston Lowe's got it just outside the red zone.
Looks like Toro has transitioned to a person D.
Preston Lowe's going to have to shoot it. Is that one going to stay in bounds? Unfortunately, it will not.
As we've seen in the earlier pass in a very similar point of the field, it's a really tough shot, that flick pass into the end zone, into space, with the wind blowing as hard as it is.
Obviously, a lot of players opting for some IO on that shot. Unfortunately, the wind is not doing them any favors here.
Nice undercut.
Just now in the hands of Kevin Pachoro.
Looks like there's a call on the field, likely going to be a pick.
Yeah, he's going to hit Oliver Stonehouse, but a pick call will probably send this one back.
Stahl is coming in at 4. Nice dish over the top.
Namo trying to shoot an IO there, looking for Eli Park. Unfortunately, that shot didn't quite rise in the wind like he had thought. And so Eclipse with another chance here on offense, having to go to the 70 yards, but with the wind at their back, a lot of their long shots have that kind of range. So Philip Craggle working the disc in the backfield with Nicholas Chang. Lucas Hoy now and Nicholas Chang running a little 1-2 give-go. Gaining yards just one step at a time. Justin Tung now has it. Eclipse doing a great job moving it up the line slowly. Unfortunately here, looking for that around blade. Just a little bit too much kick from the wind there. Gonna push that one out of range.
Nice bid by number 17. Came up just a little bit short.
And Nathan Ambrose is gonna shoot, looking for his buddy. It's gonna go over all 3 players, and J-Lord Madalang there is gonna collect the garbage and collect an opening break for Toro, so to give them a 2-0 lead.
That was an excellent deep shot. You can't really ask for more throwing up into the wind like that. It had the perfect amount of hang, and his receiver was able to go get it.
Absolutely. We can imagine we're going to see a lot more deep shots like that. The ones that are going to sit just a little bit too high for comfort normally, but those are going to be kind of your best options here in the wind. And so you're going to have to let your teammates make some plays sometimes, and there they are making a play. Now Eclipse with the difficult task of moving it into the upwind. We did see them earlier here on the live stream. If you were watching up against Vortex, they were broken early in that upwind direction, but they immediately responded with a picture-perfect, smooth offensive hold of their own. And so we're going to see if they can respond with that just the same here in this finals matchup.
I'm sure at this point of the game, they are not at all concerned. They know their O-line is very capable of making these upline passes into the wind without a lot of trouble. Let's see what Toro is going to come down with on defense.
So Nathan Ambrose out there pulling for Toro, where you can expect him to play almost every single D-line point as he is their anchor, as the coaches told me earlier. And here he starts off with a huge downwind pull. Is it going to stay in bounds?
And it does. Will. That's an incredible pull. The hang time on that was very long.
Yeah, really giving his team a good position here. And as Toro's going to come down with kind of a 2-man zone that they'd like to run.
2-3-2 with one very deep player. Number 53 is extremely far back, taking away any deep options.
Absolutely. Eclipse though happy to reset around the cup. John Carpenter doing a good job. Swings over to Bridgeland Powell in the middle of the field. Bridgeland Powell and John Carpenter. Oh, unfortunately, that one's going to tumble out of his hands as he's looking upfield. So a great opportunity here for Toro early on, just 5 yards out of the end zone. We're going to see if they can punch it in.
Well, it looks like number 63, that's Eli Park, calling a foul.
Yeah, it was Hunter Juhas there, really applying the pressure there. And on that floaty bass, and it looks like it'll be uncontested. Hunter, understanding, got a little bit of Eli there, who had great position. And so Toro marches it 5 yards closer, but they're in a bit of a tricky spot here, being right on the goal line.
Looks for the swing pass. Unfortunately, wasn't able to maintain possession of that. Number 19, Wilkie Lewis.
And here we have a travel call as the Eclipse offensive player is trying to pick it up and trying to hit Hunter, who was just boosting himself deep. The play will really start now. Eclipse with a second chance in this upwind direction. A nice around shot to Bridgelyn Powell. He's going to swing it over here. Justin Chan with the disc. Oh, Justin Chan is going to get hand blocked though there. That was Jesse Watt with a great hand block. And now the floaty shot looking for Wilkie Lewis, and he's going to collect that one. And a quick break for Toro now to take a 3-0 lead early on in this game.
Yep, that's 2 breaks for Toro early on in the game. That could be a very big game changer as we get later on in this game.
Absolutely. Sure. It's not quite a traditional 2 breaks like we're used to seeing. With the upwind downwind style game, you expect that once you get that upwind break, you can apply a lot more pressure, as you now have the wind on your side as well, acting as kind of that 8th defender. And we saw it there, making shots difficult for Eclipse. And so Toro capitalizing on that, able to put in their 2 breaks. But Eclipse, if they're able to get an upwind break of their own, they will have that same opportunity, that same extra pressure from playing defense going downwind, and a chance to just bring those 2 breaks back. So a 2 break swing, about equivalent to a 1 break swing, I would say, in a normal uncontested match.
I agree. And right now we are going to see Eclipse coming out with their basically the same offensive players as we saw in the last point. Let's see if they're able to punch it in this time, going downwind.
Yep, changing out a few of their stars. It's good to see that Eclipse can run multiple offensive lines here, not needing to rely on just 7 players to do all the work. They can work between 10 to 12 players in, and so all the players getting the necessary rest they need, because they will be playing a lot of points here in the finals.
They have an advantage here. The pull lands out, so they will be able to take it at midfield, just a little bit ahead of the brick mark.
And of course, it'll be Philip Craggle walking it in. He's been so reliable for Eclipse all week long. He's going to be facing this interesting 2-man cup, 2 to 3-man cup that Toro has set up for him. And so we're going to see what kind of work he can get done. Of course, he hits Justin Tung on the close sideline. Swings it over now. David Young working with them. Lucas Hoy as well in the backfield. Very, very reliable set. It's David Young. David Young does a good job to find Justin Tung now in the middle. Gaining great yards here. Nicholas Chang with the frisbee now. Nicholas Chang is going to boost it crossfield. We have a couple defenders underneath. We've got Eli Park as well. Oh, and Eli Park does a great job there, using his long frame to get up and grab that block. Great shot now up the lines. Looking like that's Nam Ho with it. Nam is going to find Louis Wang. Louis Wang, a bit of a do-it-all for Toro. He played the opening O point, and now you see him out here on defense. Kevin Pachoro holding on to it now. Kevin's going to find Eli up the line. Eli Park working on this near sideline. He's got Louis Wang in the backfield, but he's also got Nam Ho coming up the line. Nice layup block. Toro just knocking on the doorstep now, about 5 yards out. And he's going to hit Michael Liang in the front cone. And Toro is just on a roll all of a sudden.
Another break. Amazing. That was some very smooth upwind offense. And I was actually liking the way that Eclipse was playing that zone. They were getting it to the far side, away from where the cup was forcing them, and it was looking really nice. Unfortunately, when you put up a big shot like that, and clearly with Eli Park in the backfield, you are taking a risk right there. He is an excellent defender.
Absolutely. So Eclipse doing the smart thing. They're going to call a timeout. This game is super, super early. And not only that, there is no time cap. So the way that the horn will work, so I believe at about the 2-hour mark, a horn will sound, or just before that, or maybe around an hour 45, and that is what they call the soft cap. We will take the highest score after that point is completed, and we will add 2 points, but you must score to win. So if you are Eclipse, as long as you do not let Toro score, you can always win this game.
Yep, as we say, it's not over until it's over.
Absolutely. Toro, though, doing a great job. They showed us, their defensive line has showed us 2 kind of different varying styles that they can score. They can score on the long shot, catching some big hucks. They can also score on a little bit of small ball, as we saw here. So that bodes very well for Toro. If they can keep up their level of execution, they've put themselves in a great position here to take this game.
Yeah, and that's not to say that we haven't seen Eclipse working pretty well on defense. I mean, that was all those passes that they made were under contest. There was defense really close. 2 layout D blocks that we saw attempted in that point. So for sure, Eclipse is very close on D. There's no doubt that at some point that defense is going to pay off and they're going to get a block.
Absolutely. We're going to see them with multiple opportunities in this game to bring this one back. And eventually, hopefully, we see a tie game here. And Eclipse may even have a chance to take it all. So after the timeout, we see the usual suspects there for the Eclipse offensive line. Mixing in a few of their extra offensive players there. So we see Jaron Carpenter out there as well. Hunter Juhas. So they're going to look to punch in an upwind hold of their own, which can be quite difficult, but they have the players. We've seen them do it in the past. And now after this reset, let's see if they can do it right here. Toro also bringing out their usual suspects. Nathan Ambrose, of course, the anchor for the D-line, getting ready to pull. This pull looking like it may not stay in bounds.
And you're right, it sailed just out of bounds in the end zone.
Yeah, Nathan Ambrose, huge pull, unfortunately couldn't quite keep it in. So already Eclipse gains that extra 10-15 yards, which could be really the difference in an upwind downwind battle.
I think we're seeing the same type of defense that we saw in the last with the 2-3 and 2 players in the backfield, one very deep and the second one a little bit shorter, closer to the action.
John Carpenter, with the disc, working in the backfield with Lucas Hoy, Justin Tung, and Philip Craggle.
Great throw through the cup.
And here comes Craggle shooting it, looking for Hunter Juhas, who's been so strong in the air. And just like that, he's going to go up and pull that one down to put Eclipse on the board.
Well, as we've been expecting so far all game, we know that Eclipse is capable of doing that, and they just proved it there. That was a, I would say, 60-yard pass into the end zone. Beautiful, right where he wanted it, right over the head of the defender, making it much easier for the offensive player, the receiver, to be able to pull that down.
Absolutely, and so just like that, Eclipse has put themselves on the board. Now they've kind of exhaled a little bit. They're like, okay, we got one now, boys. Now it's time to get some business done and put up some breaks of our own. They're going to start off with a great chance here, with the win working at their backs. So a chance to already bring this game back to a 2-point game.
Yeah, I feel that Hayduk is probably saying something along the lines of, all right, time to go to work on D, boys.
Hunter Juhas, who has been a big player for Eclipse all weekend long, out here playing a little double duty, catches the goal there and telling Hayduk, hey, I'm not tired, put me out there. I want to start earning some breaks for my team.
Coaches have to love players like that.
Looks like we'll have Karim Jamal with the pull here for Eclipse going downwind. Big pull. Also does not look like it'll stay in bounds. Oh, it just barely does.
Barely makes it.
Great fielded grab by Justin Ray. Sends it over to Campbell Armstrong. Campbell back to Ray now. Over to Louis Wang on the close side. Eclipse opting for a bit of their zone, look like they're used to using, but now switching it over to man. Jaden's going to find Justin Ray with a laying out Thomas Carpenter, I believe, on his back. Justin Ray, foul call. So players a little bit confused whether that was continuation and it is a turnover or it will stay with Ray.
Uncontested foul, so the disc should go back to the thrower.
And it appears that will be the conclusion, as Justin Ray will keep the disc. Well, observers just trying to figure out the stall count here very quickly just before we restart.
Assuming it's an uncontested foul, the stall should be at 0.
And so we talked about the coaching of John Hayduk with his suit, and Evan Phillips, who's the coach of the juniors as well as the women's teams, but we have to give a shout out to the other coaches on these teams. Eclipse has Edward Guo as well as Alexander Lamb backing up Hayduk. And on the Toro side, we have Kevin Phillip Lee and Rob Grundy working with it. Here we have a fantastic grab from Campbell Armstrong to save possession there, then to hit Justin Ray right away. Now Yogalingam on the far side making a nice one-handed grab. He's running out of options here. He finds an IO shot there to Louis Wang. Now Louis Wang just about 5 yards out of the end zone. He's also going to have to shoot IOs. That's a high stall count. And Wilkie Lewis is able to collect that one. He's been such a big receiver, playing mainly offense, but we could see him play a lot of defense as well. And he does a great job there to pull that one down and give his team the 5-1 lead.
Yeah, in that situation right there, the thrower was running out of time and didn't have an option in the backfield. His dump was extremely well covered. It was lucky that he was able to notice, look upfield, and be able to see that he could, if he threw it to the other side, he did have some open players, and Toro was able to pull it in.
Absolutely, and Eclipse, not to be outdone, that was fantastic defense. That was the best person-to-person defense you could ask for, forcing multiple high stall throws, multiple tight shots into small spaces near the sideline, and with pressure right on their backs. And Toro able to answer on that one, but we're going to see if that starts to chip away at them as the pressure builds and as this game starts to go on and players are getting tired.
We have a familiar-looking D-line out here for Toro. I suspect they may play that 2-3-2 as we have been seeing them do. It has been relatively effective thus far. Once again, big pull. This one looks like it's going to stay in.
This one much better than the last one. John Carpenter is going to field the pull, center it over to Philip Craggle. Once again, Lucas Hoy and Justin Tung. Those four have been nothing but spectacular here in the backfield for Eclipse. So right now, Justin Tung and Philip Craggle, and how they find a great shot into the middle of the field. That's Victor Tiet with the disc. Back over to Philip Craggle on the far side. Upline to Tiet. Toro still happy working on their zone look. Now starting to transition into a person-to-person defense as Eclipse approaches the red zone. Doing a great job right now. That's Errol Shu with the disc. Oh, his shot unfortunately just a little bit too far there. So Toro with a huge opportunity here going downwind. Nathan Ambrose picks up the disc. He's been an anchor for the Toro defensive line. Does a good job to find number 2, J-Lord Madalang on the far sideline. J-Lord now to Eli Park in the middle of the field. That Park's so long, he's going to get off that nice back end up to Kevin Pachoro. There was a bit of a call here, perhaps a pick call on the field as this will be sent back to Eli Park. Observers just discussing with the players right now. And yeah, it looks like it will stay with Kevin Pachoro here, Toro on the far side. The shot just enough for Eli Park, using his long arms to snag that one. And his backhand shot up the line, a beauty to Nam Ho. And Toro is just on a roll right now, and that gives them another break and the 6-1 lead at the moment.
Yeah, that looked like maybe Jesse Watt could have had a bid on that disc, at least from our angle over here. But what a great pass, what a great catch. Beautiful, easy offense. I mean, they're working in a very narrow corridor, but all those shots are on the money.
Absolutely, Toro right now just looking a little bit more clean at the moment. I mean, Eclipse not to be outdone. They looked clean for 98% of that point. One shot just a little bit awry, and unfortunately, that's all Toro needed to capitalize and put in another break, give themselves a 6-1 lead.
Yeah, right now this is the type of game that you make one mistake in your offensive set, and the other team is going to go score.
So the wind hasn't decided to quite calm down just yet. It's still pretty breezy here, but both teams looking pretty clean overall in both directions, not really being phased too much by that wind. We haven't seen too many safety shots just yet, so defensive lines and offensive lines working downwind have been able to find their cuts, find their breaks, doing a great job moving the disc around the field, and we hope this just continues for the rest of the game. Regardless of the score, we just love seeing this nice clean ultimate from both teams.
Excellent upwind pull.
And Nate Ambrose doing a great job here in both directions. This throw floating perfectly.
Allows enough time for the defense to get there and set up their
Craggle finding a nice overtop to Bridgeland Powell. Once again, Toro relying on that 3-3-1, 2-3-2 kind of transition zone. But Eclipse looking like they're figuring it out as Philip Craggle runs it up the sideline. He's got Lucas Hoy and Nathan Kwan working in the backfield. Great shot over to the near sideline. GU and Lucas Hoy now exchanging shots. Oh, great shot. Unfortunately, that one's going to bounce off the hands of Philip Craggle.
I was just going to say that I was liking the Eclipse adjustment there, putting 4 handlers back, making it much easier to swing that disc back and forth across the field. Yeah, unfortunate shot.
Absolutely. They're doing a great job finding their holes. And Nate Ambrose shooting it, looking for Oliver Stonehouse. A lot of Eclipse pressure, though. Great job there getting the D. That's Nicholas Chang. So Eclipse not giving up by any means in this game. They're going to fight tooth or nail, regardless of the score, right to the end. Nathan Kwan now. Oh, nice great grab there. That's GU. Vigilant Powell now working in the back with Lucas Hoy. Oh,
what a post
fantastic layout block. That was Jake Leather in there. Seeing that one coming, waiting just an extra second, and able to catch himself a nice poach block. Nathan Ambrose is going to walk up. He's going to call a timeout. Bit of a veteran move there from one of their under 20 players.
That was an incredible poach block. I think that no offensive player had any idea he was there. I mean, I don't think we even knew he was there. And then all of a sudden, he out of nowhere, poach block. You can't ask for better than that on the defensive line. Absolutely.
It's showing he's such a smart player there. And fantastic, fantastic block. Clean, too. Completely avoided the receiver. I mean, you can't ask for anything better from a defensive player. So Toro now with a huge opportunity, I would say, really cement themselves in this game. If they can put in another upwind break here, give themselves a 7-1 lead and the chance to break for half. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more if I'm the Toro players. Eclipse, on the other hand, they know they've just got to start fighting. They're going to fight with everything they got, I'm sure. They're going to start with some lockdown person defense, I imagine. And when they get this turn, they're going to do Eclipse things and get it all the way to the end zone and start going on a roll of their own before half.
Yeah, at this point in the game, they really just need to dig deep and say, you know, let's do this for each other, boys.
Absolutely, and they've got to remember, I hope the coaches have told them that you have to score to win. So as long as you do not let the other team score, you can always win this game.
Looks like we have a classic vert stack, possibly with an isolation cutter.
And Nathan Ambrose will be picking up the disc. Eli Park working in the backfield with him.
And Eclipse is setting up what we in Quebec like to call some type of a diamond defense. You're bracketing the stack, forcing them to make a harder throw.
Nice around shot there, collected by Robertson.
Contact on the mark. Coming in at 0, uncontested.
It was a contact call, but the player wasn't quite sure how to work it, so they're gonna stop the play, just explain the rules quickly. And so contact, a little bit different from a foul call. If you call a foul, play stops, you discuss if it happened or not, and then it resumes. Contact, a little bit more of a keep the flow going kind of call. So if your marker makes contact, you say contact, they must drop back down to 0, and play resumes. Now you can contest the contact call, and so in that case, play will stop, but often it's just stall back to 0 and just keep playing.
That's right, there's no check after a contact call.
And so here, I was not sure if it was a violation, but it looks like it is a pick call. It's Alan Bagish who is signaling for pick. And so now the question is, did Eli Park have space, or was it a pick at all? And will he be keeping the disc, or will it be sent back to Robert Sun?
Looks like Eli Park is going to keep the disc, and the defensive players are going to be able to catch up a little bit.
Yep, so Toro now entering the red zone, knocking on the door of Eclipse's end zone. This now over to the far side. Nathan Ambrose, he's going to hit Nam Ho in the middle of the field, working with Eli Park. Oh, great pressure here from the Eclipse marks. Really starting to wrap here, forcing Toro to make some difficult throws. There, a nice backhand around to Eli Park. Eli Park is going to find Oliver Stone.
What a great
Pardon me, that was Jake Leather in there with a huge layout grab to save possession. It's Nathan Ambrose on the far side and then streaks up line. Nathan Ambrose opts for the nice backhand around. That's Michael Lung now with the disc in the middle of the field. Michael Lung's going to shoot an IO shot of his own. And I don't know if that was his intended receiver, but it was picked off in the end by Oliver Stonehouse, and Toro, huge upwind break there, giving themselves an absolutely commanding 7-1 lead at the moment.
Yeah, it just looked like the Eclipse defense didn't know what was happening in that situation. The play went up and everyone kind of stood still, and then Toro was able to pull it in.
Absolutely, it's one of those tough shots. You're defending your man, you're keeping an eye on him, and all of a sudden that disc is beside you, and you have no idea how it got there.
And possibly with the wind, you can't even hear if someone was yelling up from the sideline. You wouldn't necessarily be able to react that quickly because the wind is blowing so hard that you can't hear what they're saying from the side.
Absolutely. So Toro in an absolutely commanding position right now. They have a chance here with the wind at their backs to break and take half. Eclipse is fighting. Just the small things are getting away from them. They've just had a few more drops than Toro has, and Toro has just been clean and calculated, and that's really what's given them this lead. It's not that they've been playing so much better, but just the small things haven't been going awry for Toro.
Yeah, and that often is what makes a difference in the game. You know, one extra catch, one extra throw into the end zone that's a completion. Those little simple things, you know, that coaches are always harping about, like practice your throws, practice in the wind, throw in all opportunities, catch a lot, you know, work on those little tiny things that can make a difference in big games like this. In general, you know, in a situation like this, big games, your coaches are going to give you great strategy. It's not necessarily the strategy that's the problem. It's more those little execution things that you need to work on.
Absolutely. It's the players. The coaches can only say so much. It's the players who have to do the doing. And right now, here's Eclipse working on that Toro zone. Disc in the hands of John Carpenter. Working in the backfield with Young. Here we have a travel call on the far side of the field. So we have Justin Chan, David Young, John Carpenter working in the backfield, working through that zone.
This is always a contentious call, whether the player with the disc, because you're allowed to take, the rule does not necessarily say 3 steps, but you're supposed to slow down as quickly as possible. You just cannot change direction. So here the discussion is, did he change direction or not before he threw?
And so it looks like it will stand. So John Carpenter moving the disc quickly for Eclipse. We hear as the melt call goes up, so Toro switching now to person-to-person checks. John Carpenter is forced to put one up. It's high, it's floaty, a lot of bodies underneath it. Oh, and Wilkie Lewis is going to get a big, along with Victor Tiet. But Wilkie Lewis, great position there. Is able to swat that one to the ground for his team.
Yeah, that was definitely an excellent position by the defender. I would say like maybe 2 inches better than where the receiver was.
Yeah, absolutely, and Toro's, that's just been the name of this game, just 2 inches. Toro's been getting there, and Eclipse just hasn't been there quite yet. As this shot goes up, he's looking for Wilkie, but it's coming in low. Picked off quickly and moved by Thomas Carpenter. John disc in the hands of John Carpenter now as Eclipse approaches on the end zone line. John Carpenter though still starting to get high. He's looking for his reset. He's gonna find David Young. David Young, a nice IO shot there. Oh, but once again is gonna bounce off the hands of Nicholas Chang as it's rising up. And Toro once again with his chance here. And Nathan Ambrose not shying away from a huck ever. He's got Jaden working deep. He's got 2 defenders on him. And unfortunately, that one's just not gonna stay in bounds.
No, but now the other team is going to have to work it 70 yards upfield, or maybe a little bit less than 70. Nope, he's taking it right on the cone there. 70 yards to go. They're going to put on their zone again. Oh, unfortunate.
That's just been the story for Eclipse so far. They just haven't had it right now with their hands. They're just kind of letting them down a little bit. And those small drops have really been the difference. Not Toro making great, fantastic defensive plays, but those small drops and then those nice shots there. So that's J-Lord Madelang bursting up line, catching that goal from Nathan Ambrose. And so that will be Toro taking half. Commanding lead right now, 8-1. But, I mean, as long as Eclipse can come out in the second half, regroup, refresh, and not let Toro score, they will always have a chance to win this game.
I think what we're looking at here now is really the mental challenge of being down 8-1 and having to come out really tough. They're going to come out on offense after the second half, so there is at least that.
Absolutely, and Toro, now they have the mental challenge of staying in check, not getting complacent, not getting comfortable, and if things start to go wrong, they have to have that mental strength to stay up, stay high, and just finish out this game as perfect as possible. So we here in the booth will take a few short-minute break. Everybody at home, take a break as well, but stay tuned because this game is not over until that 15th goal or the soft cap is reached, and a team is declared the champions. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the second half of the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2018 here in Brampton Junior Open Division Finals between Eclipse wearing the white and Toro wearing the dark. Eclipse will be starting on offense to begin the second half. And Allison Fisher, can you give us a little bit of a recap of what we saw in that first half?
I will be brief before the poll goes up. Yes, so we saw the two teams in the first couple points. They were getting used to the wind, and after that, it was just Toro going on a run. They got 6 breaks in the first half using a 2-3-2 zone, and even though Eclipse was able to work it up most of the way up the field, those last shots close in the red zone, they just couldn't make it work. It seems to be a game of inches thus far, with Toro coming out on the winning side in this game.
Eclipse now just past midfield. A great shot here into the red zone. Disc in the hands of Lucas Hoy. And right away, nice smooth offensive hold here. He's going to shoot it to the far side. That's Victor Tiet collecting the goal for Eclipse.
Yeah, well, that was possibly the cleanest play we've seen from Eclipse thus far. They looked nice, easy, simple. They didn't have to go against a zone. They were going against a person defense, and they were able to get it done very efficiently. Let's see if we can have them do it a little bit more this time. Absolutely.
Not only that, we're going to have to see if their D-line can do it, working into the upwind direction, as that's how they're going to get back into this game. They're going to need some upwind breaks. They would come at a premium. There's only been 2 or 3 at this point, and because once you convert that upwind break, it makes it a lot easier to get. You get the win as that 8th defender, and you're able to work it back down much easier. So Eclipse is going to have to show first they can fight through that wind before they get that green pasture.
And when I was talking to Hayduk earlier, he was mentioning how they really just focus on one point at a time, one game at a time. They only focus on the now. It doesn't matter what happened in the past, what's going to happen in the future, on the now. I think that is probably the best strategy that they could be using in this point of the game, being down 8-2.
Absolutely. Kareem Jamal here pulling for Eclipse. Nice big pull here. It's going to reach well past the Toro brick mark with a lot of float. Justin Ray collects it, sends it over to Campbell Armstrong.
Looks like we're seeing a flat wall type zone.
Eclipse bringing out one of their classic zones, a 3-3-1, but it's very, very flat. They want the handlers to throw it back and forth. They don't want any shots going downfield. Yoga Lingham in the middle of the field with the disc. He's going to find Campbell. Campbell swinging it over to Louis Wang. Louis Wang now looking for some options, and there it is. They're going to force a drop. Yeah, huge opportunity here for Eclipse to swing some momentum their way. So Kareem Jamal will be the one to pick it up. We have Bridgeland Powell setting himself up in that ISO position. He's going to make things very difficult. Kareem Jamal shot. Great grab there from Bridgeland Powell with a lot of pressure. He's going to shoot it back across. And just unfortunate there.
And looks like he's going to call a foul. This is going to be a very contentious call, as I think the contact came after the disc was already out of his hands.
I agree. It looked like he had dropped the frisbee already, but maybe saying, oh, I had a second effort on that. The disc was still floating. There's so much wind out there. And so the players will talk about it, perhaps go to the observers, and we'll see how this play resolves.
As you can see, the observers are going to consult. They're going to make sure that they agree on whatever call they're going to rule. It looks like the players resolved it on their own.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be an uncontested foul. And so that's number 0. That's Cameron Lloyd with the disc on the goal line.
That was a spirited play. So the observer is just saying you need to touch the disc before you pick it up to walk it in. And no other player can move until the disc is tapped in. It will still be Eclipse disc on the end zone.
And so there, a nice push path from Cameron Lloyd hits Bridgeland Powell, and there Eclipse has it. That's their first break of the game, bringing themselves one step closer to Toro. Giving them still down 8-3, but a huge upwind break, a chance now with the wind on their back to swing for 2 points, perhaps bring this game one step closer.
As you can see, once they play the defensive set with a zone, it really challenged the Toro handlers to make a lot of passes, and they were able to get a turnover out of it. So let's see what they do here. I would suspect they're going to come out with another, possibly the same or some type of different zone, looking to cause another turnover.
Absolutely. With the wind on their side, there's no better time really to play a zone. Force Toro to make a lot of throws. And if they are able to work it through their zone and into the end zone, they earned that one. But you got to make them earn it every step of the way if they want to win this game.
It does seem that the wind has possibly died down a little bit. Maybe you can hear it a little bit less through the mics now. But I have no doubt that still playing a zone will challenge those Toro handlers to make the right throw every time. It leaves a little bit less margin for error in a zone with those throws through the cup.
Absolutely. Kareem Jamal here with the big pull for Eclipse once again. This one a bit sharper. It's going to be handled by Justin Ray. Centered over to Nathan Ambrose. Ambrose is going to shoot right through the middle right away. Doing a great job to find Wilkie Lewis around the middle of the field. This now on the far side in the hands of Ambrose. Ambrose reset is going to slip, but he's going to find Louis Wang instead on the reset cut. Oh, Louis Wang attempting to hit Campbell, but it's a little bit too far. And there it is, Eclipse with another chance here to pull off a break.
Eclipse taking their time to set up their offensive vert stack.
It would be Kareem Jamal picking it up, center it over right away. That's Justin Shu. Justin Shu, a lot of tight person coverage here. He's going to have to shoot it. He's got Bridgeland Powell with the great steps. Oh, unfortunately.
What a bid.
Yeah, fantastic bid there from Bridgeland Powell, laying it all out on the line. Unfortunately, the wind really giving that shot some kick. It looked like it was about to sift for a moment, but unfortunately, it's going to fly right out of the end zone.
I think even if he would have been able to catch it, he would have possibly landed out of bounds. That was a great look, though. Looks like they're setting up with a 3-person zone.
And this time, a very classic 3-person cup.
Yep, just really fighting to take that IO pass around, but nonetheless, Toro's able to get it off.
Yeah, doing a great job swinging it over now to Jaden Prescott Brown. Back into the hands of Justin Ray. He's going to hit Campbell Armstrong.
And they've gone to person D.
Great transition here from Eclipse. Not getting lost. A little high release around. Collected well by Armstrong. Campbell Armstrong, the youngest of the 3 Armstrong brothers. 2 older brothers, Connor Armstrong and Owen Armstrong, here supporting him in the crowd. And here he's going to have to boost a bit of a 50-50 shot, and Hunter Juhas is going to get the better of Wilkie Lewis there. Kareem Jamal a little bit lost on where he has to come in after that just flew out of bounds. Oh, great shot there, though. Hunter Juhas right around midfield now with the disc for Eclipse.
A little bit of traveling on that throw.
You find Kareem Jamal in the backfield now. Hold the swing around, looks good. Disc in the hands of Justin Chan. Chan's around, though, just a little bit too low for Bridgeland Powell. So Toro now with another chance going into this upwind direction. Be attempt number 3, but I'm sure Eclipse is happy with what they've seen so far. They've been forcing Toro to turn it over. First shot, though.
They're setting up zone. Unfortunately, it just wasn't good enough that time. Wide open through the middle. Oh,
unfortunate drop there.
This is the point of not being able to catch.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge momentum shift for either team if they can collect this one after it's been a little bit messy. After we saw a lot of clean points from both teams. This one just a little bit messy. Oh, and here a fantastic poach block there from Justin Ray.
Nice spirit.
He's going to get bumped a little bit by Hunter Juhas, and he's going to take an injury sub. He looks okay, though. He's walking it off, but he's just going to give himself a quick rest, and so he's able to play later on in this game.
That was excellent heads-up defense.
So Siva Santosh Yogalingam coming in for him. Observers just asking if White would want a sub.
I think the discussion on the field right now is where 77 from Eclipse is supposed to be standing, because the injury was called after he had already taken off. And so therefore he was not as close to where he is standing right now. And it was interesting, the players were asking the observers to let them sort it out.
I believe the players were actually asking one of the sideline coaches who was trying to interject his opinion there to let them sort it out.
That makes more sense.
I don't think the players can just call off the observers like that. So Nathan Ambrose now catching the scoober from Campbell Armstrong. And now he's going to rip a huge IO backhand. Bridgeland Powell with a lot of pressure, but Wilkie Lewis collects it nicely. Now he's going to flip it into the backfield for Campbell Armstrong. Campbell Armstrong is going to work it with Wilkie Lewis, who's really running his check around the field. Oh, a great poach there from Bridgeland Powell, but Campbell Armstrong's going to sneak in on that front cone. It looks like it'll be a nice upwind hold there for Toro, giving them a 9-3 lead.
Sometimes that can also be a momentum changer when you have a long point like that. A lot of turnovers, a lot of, I don't know, little mistakes that maybe you wouldn't necessarily expect in the finals game. But they were managed to maintain the hold and score going upwind.
And yeah, now here's their chance to bring their lead back after getting broken upwind, then following it up with a nice hold, even with the momentum at their backs. In front of them. Now with the momentum at their backs and the win, a chance to break back and regain their 8-point lead.
It's the 6-break lead.
Sorry, 7-point lead. I cannot count. I apologize, guys. Now, I know Eclipse not too happy about how that point ended, but they have to be happy about what they saw throughout. They really forced Toro to turn that disc over a lot. They really fought for every inch in that. And Toro managing to come out, but as long as they can keep bringing that kind of intensity, the Toro offensive line is going to start to get worn down. And as this game starts to get longer, that could really be the undoing, as there really is no time cap. So if you can keep grinding them down, at some point they may hit a wall where they can't come back.
No matter what the score, you always have to have hope. Big pull, gonna land inbounds.
Lucas Hoy to collect it for Eclipse. Sends it over to Philip Craggle.
Oh, goodness. Almost a drop in their own end zone.
Yeah, just a fantastic grab, though. Now Lucas Hoy and Justin Tung doing a little give-go. Pass around now to Philip Craggle. Eclipse doing a great job against this zone now, really using both sides of the field. Lucas Hoy, Justin Tung gaining yards after yard. And nice give and go. They're starting to reach midfield. Working with David Young now. A little bobble, but Justin Tung's got it the focus. Now he's looking for a reset shot here. He's going to find David Young up the line. Back to Lucas Hoy. He's going to swing it around over to Philip Craggle.
I really like the way the handlers are moving the disc in this point. This
Yeah,
is the most action, the most motion, the most running we've seen from the handlers. Trying to work that zone really hard so they just get tired out and have to go to person D. As we see, they are now in person D.
Disc in the hands of Nicholas Chang. He's going to shoot cross field. It's a little bit floaty. Philip Craggle's under it. Oh, and we got a big block here, though, from the Toro defender. He had poached off, but with a lot of float on that cross field into the wind shot, he was able to make up some ground, and I believe that was Oliver Stonehouse getting up there for the block. Eli Park now, he's just going to juice it the other way, looking for Stonehouse once again. His shot just a little bit too far, but Toro really playing the position game here, knowing that the wind's on their side. They're going to force Eclipse to work it. Quick handler movement once again. And Eclipse has got to be starting to get a little bit tired, as, like you said, the handlers were really moving it on that point.
Yeah, this is what you don't want to end up being. You don't want to end up getting stuck on that sideline. It was really nice when they were able to move it towards the closer side of the field.
Oh, Justin Tung's shot just a little bit past the receiver, and Jesse Watts able to get that block for Toro. He's going to find Eli Park in the middle now. Ooh, a little poach attempt. Oh, that one's going to bounce off the hands of Kevin Pachoro, I believe. And Philip Craggle getting a little piece of it, I think.
Great throw.
Lovely shot there into the end zone for Nicholas Chang. So another upwind hold for Eclipse. And now they're starting to show they can fight it. They can fight these long points in both directions. Their O-line doing a great job going upwind, getting that hold.
It seems right now that Eclipse works really well against a person D. But the challenge is, if Toro keeps throwing their zone looks, are they going to be able to adjust enough to be able to score going against their zone? All right, so Eclipse is going to have a chance to put on their own zone look right now. I wonder which one of their myriad options it will be.
I would really like to see a brand new zone look, unseen, untested, just one that's in the works, because this is the time. If you really want to shake up an opposing team, just do something completely out of the box. We saw Stud do it a few days ago with their snake in the grass play, and Coach Jamie Millage has told me he's already working on the double snake in the grass play, so we can only hope to see what he comes up with for next year's junior finals.
You called it. That double snake in the grass.
So John Carpenter here for Eclipse. He's going to be starting with the pull. Toro had a great hold upwind, and Eclipse answered right back. Now it's on Toro to answer once again. This throw is going to land in bounds and roll at the back, so Toro will get it at the front of their end zone line. And Eclipse, here comes their zone. It looks to be a 3-3-1. We're going to see if it's going to be a flat zone or a trap zone. Starting off with the flat zone. Louis Wang, though, swings it over close side. This is going to end of Wilkie Lewis.
It does adjust on the sideline, as you can see, with a little bit of a push mark.
Campbell Armstrong now stuck in that trap. Can be very difficult. He's going to opt Scuba. Oh, great grab down the far sideline. That was Kiro Robertson making that fantastic grab. Oh, unfortunately, this give-go pass a little bit too high, and now Eclipse with a great chance here. John Carpenter swings it over to the close side. That's Frank Chen. Chen shoots it up the field. That's Darwin Maliare. Darwin Maliare's shot is a little bit too far, but did he collect it?
The observer is not sure. I think he's waiting for the on-the-field discussion about whether that disc actually touched the ground or was he able to dig it out before it hit the ground.
It looked like it was very, very close. I imagine the observers will take a moment to talk about it here.
This is when instant replay would be a great feature.
Absolutely, but our version of instant replay is charades, so everybody take a look.
If they can't work it out, it will go back to thrower.
Observers, Diego Hori looking like he will make the call.
Back to thrower.
And they're going to opt for a contest and send it back to the thrower. Seems like the appropriate response there, as it was very, very close, and we have no real way of knowing who had that one.
The stall will be coming in at 4.
Darwin Maliare with the disc. He's going to opt for the nice reset over to John Carpenter. Flip and go now. John Carpenter's cut space. He's just 1 yard out of the end zone now.
Huge layout bid, a double layout bids.
And there they go. They find the shot into the middle, and that's another break for Eclipse. They're going to bring this game to 9-5.
Way to work that. I think they're just going to keep throwing out some zone looks, some different things, force the Toro throwers to make a lot of passes.
Absolutely. Eclipse starting to find their groove now. Maybe they're a little bit shaken early on in this game, but now they're starting to flow. They're starting to find their momentum. They're getting their blocks. They're getting their chances on offense, and now they're starting to convert, and that's huge.
Yeah, and if you're on the Toro side, Dime's going out there. You know, he's just got to tell his players they got to also, focus on what's happening right now. We're going out on O. Just be patient. We're totally capable of handling this. It's easy stuff. One pass, another pass, another pass into the end zone. That's all we need to do. Absolutely.
They should also not be worried about the score. They should just know 1 point at a time. If we keep putting in goals before they do, we will eventually win this game. So John Carpenter out here doing some double duty with the pull. Nice big pull. It's going to be collected by Justin Ray. Send it over to Nathan Ambrose.
And this time we see a not very flat cup.
Nice cheeky throw there from Ambrose, finding Louis Wang. Now back into the hands of Siva Yogalingam.
And they've gone to person D. Nice throw to space.
Lovely shot there for Eli Park. Eli Park now has Yogalingam up line. See Yogalingam on the far side. He's got Park now. Park's been so speedy in the backfield. He's going to bring it right to the doorstep. He's going to shoot for the back corner. And he's going to find Oliver Stonehouse for the goal.
I think that the observers are ruling him in.
And there it is. So it's Toro answering back with a nice hold of their own, giving themselves the 10-5 lead. And that's just what they needed when Eclipse was really starting to roll.
Yeah, that was excellent offense. That's exactly what you want. Calm, cool, collected. And making it a maybe not the easiest pass to catch in the end zone, but getting the job done.
Absolutely. Eclipse now back on O. They've got to answer with a hold of their own. We've seen their O-line look so much smoother now after that second half. And let's see if they can just keep it up. And as long as they hold, get their D-line as many chances as they can in this game, they'll be in great shape. So Toro so far has been really working their interesting two to three person cup that kind of alternates between the two for most of this game. Do you think they'll switch it up at this point, or will they just keep rolling with it? It has been working. It's shown great success, but at some point maybe you want to spice it up a little bit. Throw in a person to person. Throw in a snake in the grass. Throw in a hot dog in the bun. Who knows?
I would really like to see that hot dog in the bun play.
Well, you have to come watch GT starting tomorrow because I am just cooking up all kinds of defensive schemes at the moment.
All right, so what are we looking at here?
So right now we're looking at just the classic, the two-person cup, half three-person cup, which has been working very interestingly for Toro. And then we got a shot from Philip Craggle looking for Victor Tiet. Oh, but Eli Parks does a great job reading that one and just knocking that disc to the ground.
I feel like at this point, with the amount of Ds that Eli Parks has gotten in the end zone, you maybe want to start looking a little bit shorter or throwing to where he's not.
Absolutely. Victor Tiet has been a huge downfield receiver for Eclipse all weekend long, but Eli Park showing that he's up to the challenge, he can take him. And now we have Stonehouse here battling Craggle, but Craggle's going to get the better of him with his positioning. And as Craggle is set to bring it in, it looks like that zone is already back on in front of him. And so Justin Tung and Lucas Hoy are going to have to move that disc around. They're doing great work right now. Justin Tung just chewing up yards for his teammates. And then a nice cross-field shot there to Philip Craggle, who handles it perfectly.
I love those passes cross-field. It just opens up all the options.
Yeah, this Eclipse handler core doing a great job eating up yards. Now a nice shot into the middle for Preston Lowe. Philip Craggle on the far side now, handling it well. Here comes the person-to-person set from Toro. Shot into the middle. Nick Chang has a yelling Craggle in the backfield, but opts to holster. Instead, his IO shot maybe foot blocked just slightly, as it's going to bounce off the hands of Lucas Hoy there on the far side of the field.
That stall had to be pretty high. That would look like possibly it was a bit of a rushed pass, whether or not it was foot blocked. It was a very high stall count, and he obviously didn't like what options he saw in front of him, so he opted for the tough IO flick.
That looks like we had a foul call here on the mark. Disc in the hands of Nathan Ambrose with quite a deep stack in front of him. Considering they're moving up, we have seen Nathan Ambrose with the range on his shots, but he's got quite a deep stack to hit with any unders.
Maybe he'll look dump. Oh, he's going to look crossfield.
That's a great shot there. That's Namho picking it off. He's going to swing it immediately to J-Lord Madalang. Madalang back over to Namho. Ho over to Ambrose. And here comes Ambrose juicing a backhand. He's looking for Jake Leatherin this time. A lot of bodies underneath. Oh, and a fantastic block there from the Eclipse defender. I wasn't sure which one got it, but they made sure to swat that one as far away as possible.
If you put enough bodies under that disc, chances are you're going to get it.
Absolutely. Philip Craggle coming up to the line now with the Frisbee. He's going to face that zone once again. He's asking for some cuts. His handler core luckily there to help him out. Justin Tung. Nice swing over to Preston Lowe here in just shy of the middle. And Justin Chung working it. Lucas Ho streaking up line, but a good shot into the middle. Oh, and Justin Tung is going to throw right into the hands of Nathan Ambrose. He's going to immediately juice it, looking for J-Lord Madalang. Oh, unfortunately, it's going to float over both receivers. Looks like there was a bit of a foul call. Zero saying perhaps he was trying to move into a good position, but he was getting shoved out of the way. we'll let the players talk it out, see what the observers had to say, and see where we go from there.
That was a great D block. Really heads up play. It looked like the thrower just threw right into the hands of the defender.
Actually, Justin Tung has been so reliable, moving that disc so quickly, and has really been the reason that this O-line has been flowing through the Toronto zone at this point.
I agree that it's really important to move the disc quickly in a zone like this. Sometimes you go a little bit too fast. That's always the risk.
Looks like we'll have a contested foul, so disc will be back in the hands of Nathan Ambrose. And so Toro once again just shy of the red zone. A good opportunity to punch in another upwind break. Every single one they can get will be huge for this game.
Stahl is coming in at 1.
Disc swung now to the far side. That's Nam Ho with the disc. Nam Ho is going to find J-Lord Madalang on the far side. Now just 5 yards out of the end zone. We got a tight mark here from Preston Lowe. And J-Lord is forced to throw up the hammer. He's looking for Jesse Watt. Well, Jesse Watt's got a great read on it as he's 5 yards out of the end zone. And then he's going to find Oliver Stonehouse there in the back of the end zone for another big upwind break. Toro taking the 11-5 lead.
That hammer was didn't come out maybe the way that he intended it to, but it was successful nonetheless. And that's really important when you are in the end zone and a disc goes up, you got to go get it no matter what. Whether you're on D, whether you're on O, you got to track that down, as we just saw them do for a score.
Absolutely.
Break.
Jesse Watt doing a great job. Not worried about the end zone so much, just worried about keeping the possession and getting his team just one step closer. And once he does collect it, he does a great job to turn around immediately and find his open receiver for the break.
You almost want to say the Eclipse offense. It's okay, guys. Like, if you just relax a little bit, those fast, quick passes are great, but it feels a tiny bit rushed. And once you get a tiny bit rushed, you're not playing in your zone. If you're not playing in your zone, things don't flow as easily as you think they should.
Absolutely, it's tough when you're trying to move it fast against that zone, but you have to make sure, you have to know that there's a speed limit. You can't cross that speed limit, or you will start to end up into that rush zone. So here, 100-mile-per-hour speed limit. Eclipse trying to go 105, and so it's going to cost them on that point. Here, a big pull and smartly left to float out of bounds.
So they will get it at the brick mark in the middle of the field.
John Carpenter will be anchoring this Eclipse offense as they try to move it upwind. And Toro not shying away from their tactics, once again bringing out their 2 to 3 man cup poach switch set. We still haven't found a name for it just yet, but it has been effective so far in this game. It looks like it's well drilled and they're playing it fantastically.
Nice break.
Great shot around there. Great continue flow. These Eclipse handlers looking a lot more confident now, really moving with some pace. They're really starting to slice this zone as they encroach on Toro's end of the field. Thomas Carpenter now on the far side with the disc, entering the red zone. Got Bridgeland Powell working in the backfield. Stahl beginning to climb. It looks like there was a call on the field as Kareem Jamal is going to collect this one.
Looks like the players are calling for the disc to go back.
It looks like there was a stall call at the time as the marker stopped, put his hands up, signaling there was a stall call. Perhaps not a stall, perhaps a foul call maybe, as maybe perhaps calling a push-off foul or something of the like.
It does look like the observer is indicating foul, and he is asking the players whether they think it's contested or not. Stahl. It
looks like the official ruling is stall call. So Eclipse unfortunately getting a little stuck on that far sideline. So it will be Toro's disc here. And unfortunately, because Eclipse was doing great work there, slicing up that zone, moving it really fast. And unfortunately, they just got caught a little bit out of position. Toro doing a great job with their person-to-person set, forcing that stall.
And as we've seen, defensive player has to check it in before anyone is allowed to move.
So Campbell Armstrong here for Toro, picking it up.
Oh, right through his hands.
Yeah, he's going to shoot it around, and unfortunately for Philip Abad, that's just going to go straight through his hands. And Kareem Jamal is going to pick it up and shoot it deep for Bridgeland Powell, and a great upwind hold there for Eclipse.
That was a lucky break for them.
Yeah, Eclipse getting a little bit lucky, but sometimes you need that. You need that to get right back in this game.
Yeah, and we've seen it go the other way. It's been Toro most of this game that is winning that game of inches. And in this case, it went in Eclipse's favor. And Eclipse will get an opportunity to bring out possibly one of their zones, as we've seen a couple of them so far. We'd like to see some others.
Yeah, I think they're really keeping the secret stuff for another time. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping to see some creativity out here. Maybe a 5-person V Cup, perhaps a 6-person Apple Cup. I'm not sure what, I'm working on the name still, but
something circular.
Something circular. Perhaps even the Japanese-style No Man Cup.
Yes, Hayduk did say they do have a Japanese-style cup that is called Isa. And if you ever played a Japanese team, you do hear that word said a lot from the sidelines. I believe, if I remember correctly, Hayduk told me that it means break.
Justin Ray collecting in the back of the end zone. He's going to center it up to Nathan Ambrose. Nathan Ambrose facing that flat cup. Looks more of like a flat cup here. He's going to find a nice hammer into the middle, though, to Wilkie Lewis. Wilkie Lewis is going to flip it back over to Ambrose on the far side, who's now going to juice it. He's looking for Kerode Robinson.
Oh, out the back.
Unfortunately, just a little too much juice there from Ambrose. It's going to sail out the back. You don't see that too often on a roughly 55-yard huck.
Especially not upwind.
So Eclipse now, though, with a chance here. John Carpenter walking the disc up to the line.
Looks like they're setting up a split stack. It's a deep strike right off.
Oh, great fake there from John. He's going to push it over to Hunter. Hunter Juhas. Oh, here, that was a great read from the Eclipse receiver there. Getting up high, getting a hand on it. Oh, but now just a fantastic IO shot. Some 40 yards down the field for his teammate. Now we have Kerode Robertson looking for his reset. He's going to find Ambrose on a cheeky IO shot of his own.
Oh, just a little bit too hard.
Yeah, Ambrose shot looks like had a lot of pace on it, but just a little bit behind his receiver, who was blazing to the front cone. So Eclipse now another chance here, a second chance. Trying to grind down Toro's O-line, as well as put in some breaks of their own.
Looks like they're going with a vert stack this time. You can see the Toro mark playing a little bit straight up, trying to take away the huck opportunity.
Yeah, disc in the middle of their end zone. Disc in the hands of Nathan Kwan. Kwan's going to find Hunter Juhas.
And there's a call. Probably a pick. Looks like the stall will be coming in at 6. This is potentially a precarious position to be in your own end zone. Stall coming in at 6.
It looks like there's a violation call there, as the players maybe getting a little bit of a false start, not sure when exactly the marker was about to tap it in. So they'll just reset, and they'll start it all over again.
And as you can see, stall getting very high. He has to just crank a shot out.
Well, unfortunately, Justin Ray looking around a little bit there. Almost didn't collect it, but good focus from him in the end to collect that one. Hoy's going to find a little cheeky IO shot there to Louis Wang. Louis Wang right on the doorstep. Little push pass back to Ambrose in the backfield. Ambrose going to whip this one across the field. Oh, and just in bounds for Wilkie Lewis on the far side. What a shot there from Ambrose.
What a shot from Ambrose. You could hear him earlier. He was calling for that dump. He really wanted the dump pass. Didn't get it. But a few passes later, disc was in his hands. Didn't hesitate. Took a pass, cross field, IO flick for the goal.
And not only that, it was an upwind shot. So another huge hold for Toro, really answering Eclipse's challenge here in the big moments. So Toro now, huge commanding position once again. Their D-line a chance here to really put a nail in the coffin, as you could say, as the points start to wind down. Eclipse, though, haven't given up at all. They've been fighting. They've been looking a lot cleaner than we saw at the beginning of the game. And so the O-line here, another chance to go upwind. The wind is starting to die down at this point. So now it's a little bit more of an even game. And so every single point is going to be a battle. And we're going to see which team can come out on top in the end. Eli Park here, juicing the pull for Toro. It's going to be collected once again from Lucas Hoy and send it over to the ever-reliable Philip Craggle.
We're seeing our three-man cup, as we've been seeing pretty regularly throughout this defensive set.
And of course, the Eclipse handlers have seen it so much, they know the way now. They're doing a great job moving it quickly up the line, really chewing up yards here.
Great shot.
Great shot down the sideline as they approach the red zone. It's going to get Lucas Hoy up the line, and nice easy shot. Great work there from Eclipse, really eating that zone on that point. They give themselves a 12-7, make this a 12-7 game.
As the coaches love to say, they're just jamming it up the jam hole. Keeps going up line, up line, up line, but that's what the zone is giving them, and that's what they took. Great work by the handlers to keep making those cuts into the open space, and making a smart, smooth throw. Easy hold.
So Eclipse showing that they can answer the challenge too. They can answer Toro's call, and now Toro's going to have to show them if they can do it once again. Not normally the battle you would see in an upwind downwind kind of game, where both O-lines are just being so methodical in the upwind direction, really fighting for those. Not every single point is clean, but they're fighting those. They're fighting back, and they're winning those points in the upwind direction. So hold after hold after hold. And so now we're going to see which team is going to kind of break first and allow that downwind break that could really kind of reset kind of the field positions. Nicholas Chang here pulling for Eclipse.
That is a massive pull.
This is just fantastic. Justin Ray will be collecting it. It's going to hit Campbell Armstrong in the middle of the field. It's going to immediately swing it over to Louis Wang. Looks like now it's a bit of a four-man cup as Eclipse opting for the switch up. This hammer shot, just so much touch on it. It's going to hit Siva Yogalingam, who's going to hit Jaden Prescott-Brown on the far side. Justin Ray now zipping up line. Work a little 1-2 with Wilkie Lewis as they encroach on the red zone. It's going to hit now Louis Wang now just 5 yards outside the end zone.
A little bump there by the defender.
Yeah, the players are happy to play with the contact though. Campbell Armstrong collects the reset pass.
Oh, that's likely to be a foul.
Yeah, it looks like that'll be a foul, and I imagine Justin Ray will end up with that disc in the end. So he was zipping up line. Victor Tiet there just getting a little tangled up with him. Unfortunately, I don't think he imagined tripping him, but
it's usually not the intention, but sometimes that's the result.
Absolutely. So it happens. I imagine Justin Ray will end up with this disc here in a moment. Oh, it'll be a foul contest, so Campbell Armstrong will take the disc back. Understandable as well. We don't know really if Justin Ray was going to make that catch. Nicholas Chang marking Campbell Armstrong here, talking with the observers about what the stall will be. He's going to find Siva Yogalingam, now 2 yards outside of the end zone.
A lot of pressure by the defenders right now.
All right, great job. Nice around shot there from Siva Yogalingam to find his teammate Justin Ray in the backfield. Now in the hands of Campbell Armstrong to Louis Wang. A lovely around shot to Wilkie Lewis.
Oh, what
and he's going to shoot that IO into Jaden Prescott Brown.
That was a confident throw. He did not hesitate for 1 second. He saw his player cutting, and he just threw the IO. Beautiful pass right in front of him. He was able to run onto it.
Yeah, great grab from Jaden Prescott Brown, as that looked like it had a little sauce on it. So it could have gone either way there, but confident, nice offensive hold there from Toro, and they are really answering the call right here in this huge game. So they're going to give themselves a 13-7 lead. What that means is no matter when this horn sounds, this is a game to 15. So whichever team reaches 15 first will be the winner, and you must score to win. Now, regardless, if you took away the score and you had 100 people guess, I'm sure about 85% of them imagine maybe 2 points, maybe 3 points max. But it was just the early points that were really Eclipse's undoing, as they had a few uncharacteristic drops, a few uncharacteristic throwaways, and Toro so meticulous in that early going. That's what's really given them this 13-7 lead.
I completely agree. I think it really makes a difference early in the game. If you're able to get a few breaks with a lot of wind, you are setting yourself up for winning.
So Lucas Hoy now on that far side, once again working in with Philip Craggle. They'll work it all day. They know how to break this cup now. They know they can use their speed. And they've also got fantastic throws. Here, once again, hitting Lucas Hoy for another 5 yards.
That's a great look.
Oh,
That's what you want to do.
Lucas Hoy doing a great job showing off his vision.
Oh,
unfortunately, Nicholas Chang's receiver moving a little too fast for him, and that shot's just going to end up just behind him. And of course, Nathan Ambrose for Toro picking this one up with a chance to really put that nail in the coffin. He's got his good friend Oliver Stonehouse going deep. Instead, opposite, Jesse Watt on the under. Now a little bit of flip and flop, and they're on the far side of the field just outside of the red zone.
You know, Nicholas Chang really wants to get his D right now. Get that back.
It's a great reset cut there from Jesse Watt to help out Kevin Pachoro. He's going to find J-Lord Madalang now on the far side. Toro about 5 yards outside the end zone now. Unfortunately, Madalang's reset just a little bit low, so Eclipse getting a lucky break there and a chance to continue this hold battle. Toro immediately into their zone look. And Lucas Hoy and Philip Craggle immediately back to work on their zone O. Working in the backfield this time with Nicholas Chang and Justin Tung. Tung's shot here a little bit floaty, but Errol Shu does a nice job collecting it. He's going to shoot it cross field. Looks like it's right on the money. Great shot there.
That was an excellent play. That's what you really want out of that zone. You get it past the cup, and then you look for the player who's open and throw to the side where the defender is not.
Absolutely, and here you go. Here comes the hold battle. Once again, Eclipse is answering the call. And now it's up to Toro's O-line to go out there and answer a huge call of their own. Because if they can put this one in, they are in a fantastic position to really take this game.
Yep. Sometimes when you only have 2 points to score to win, it's a lot tougher than when you have 5 or 6. The pressure is all on you to be able to execute.
Absolutely. Eclipse at the same time, I'm sure they're feeling a little bit of pressure as well. They know they need some stops. They need to start putting in their breaks. They cannot let Toro score at all costs.
All right, let's see what kind of zone or person look they bring out in a do-or-die situation.
Absolutely. This could be the time to bring out their person-to-person set, try and force as many short field turnovers as they can. This pull, unfortunately, just a little bit out of bounds here. So Toro with a chance to start it off at the brick mark.
Does look like they've got 3 or 4 players. 3 players set up as a cup.
And the very classic cup looks, not the flat wall look they like to use sometimes, but just a very standard cup. Toro immediately a little 1-2, putting themselves on the sideline, and then a great shot into the middle for Campbell Armstrong. He's going to swing it back to Louis Wang. Now it looks to be a person-to-person set. Just swings to the close side. That's Kurode Robertson. Kurode's going to find Louis Wang now. He has Siva Yogalingam on the far side. Nice swinging here from Toro so far. Oh, great go-to grab. And then Wilkie Lewis with a nice continuation cut for him. Back in the hands of Campbell Armstrong. You're going to find Justin Ray on the far side, and we have a pick call here in the middle of the field. And so the players are just going to quickly discuss where the positions are needed, and this will stay in the hands of Justin Ray on the far side as Toro enters the red zone once again. Siva Yogalingam streaking up line, and he's going to find Campbell Armstrong on the continuation, and that's huge because that puts Toro at game point now here in this gold medal match.
That was an excellent bid by the defender. I mean, you can't ask for more there. You know the game is on the line. You got to do what you can do. Even if it doesn't work, you got to take your chances, try to get the layout block. Unfortunately, it didn't work this time. It might work next time.
Absolutely, and I'm loving this back and forth, offensive hold, offensive hold, offensive hold. Neither team wanting to give up an inch. They're going to grind this out in whatever conditions they have to. Upwind for the whole game. As an offensive player, you're not really expecting that, but it's great to see that these kids are ready to answer the call, and they've been doing just a fantastic job here in the second half.
Yeah, it's really impressive, not only with their athleticism, but their skill at this level. I was talking to Hayduk earlier, and he was mentioning that at tryouts this year, they had 400 players come out to tryouts. That's an incredible number. It's not only including the open players, but also the women's players, but their juniors program is incredible. 400 players at tryouts. Absolutely,
and you can tell they've put together quite the team here. The team has had some amazing games, amazing moments, and unfortunately this slow start kind of did them in this one. But, I mean, if you looked at just the second half, this team is just as strong as Toro.
Nice pull.
Nathan Ambrose once again, big pull. Lucas Hoy once again, perfect collect. And of course, send it over to Philip Craggle. Nicholas Chang working with Hoy here. They're gaining some quick yards every single time. Swung over to the middle. That's Philip Craggle with the disc. You can shoot it back to Lucas Hoy. Again, they're just moving it 2 yards at a time, but 2 yards in the opponent's direction as Justin Tung collects this upline pass. Philip Craggle now with it trapped on the sideline, but he's more than confident. And there he finds an easy blade over the top to Nicholas Chang, whose swing is just a little bit too far. Maybe a little confusion on who was going to collect that.
And here we go. Toro has an opportunity to finish the game.
And of course, disc in the hands of Nathan Ambrose. Who else? We got two offensive receivers streaking deep. Instead, he's going to hit Namho underneath. Namho's going to take his time. It's going to hit Lance Burney here. Back of the field to Nam. Ooh, a little bit of tight defense there from Lucas Hoy. Both players not upset with the contact. Now up the field to J-Lord Madalang. Madalang's shot, though, a little bit too far, and a huge layout block there from Victor Tiet. Eclipse not wanting to give up just yet. This game is not over for them. They're going to fight till Toro has earned that last goal.
Yeah, in this situation, that throw is just not perfect, and not perfect is not good enough.
Justin Tung sneaking up line here. Toro looks like they opted for a bit of a person step for a moment, and yes, they have. Philip Craggle doing some great work on the reset space to get that disc in the middle. Now he's looking for Lucas Hoy, but some tight person coverage here. A nice break around to hit him. Lucas Hoy now, nice around shot to Nick Chang. He's going to toe the line with a great grab. Now he's going to shoot across field. Does this have float? Does this have location? Oh, Victor Tiet's in the right spot, but Oliver Stonehouse kind of beats him there and gets the block.
Tiet's been challenged a lot in the deep space in this game. He's been there every time, but the D has also been there.
Eli Park swings it over to Nate Ambrose. Oh, and Nate Ambrose shot's a little bit too far.
What a save.
Oh, but Toro is still firing on all cylinders here. A great save, and now shot up the field to Lance Burney. Oh, again up the field, but this time a little bit too far. And the Eclipse defender is going to get a nice block.
Everybody is laying it on the line at this point.
Absolutely. They both know this could be the very final point. And so they're fighting tooth and nail to not give up an inch. Lucas Hoy swings the far side. Justin Tung. Tung and Hoy going to swing it back and forth. Oh, Justin Tung showing off his speed. And now he's got an IO shot here looking for Nick Chang.
What
he's got a huge grab in the back of the end zone.
What a throw. That You just don't see that throw very often.
Absolutely not. A nice IO shot there, and Nicholas Chang, great height, great reading. The TCU 20 player here for Eclipse showing his stuff there with a fantastic grab. The score is 14-9, so Toro still at game point. And Eclipse now, they're fighting every single point is life or death. If Toro puts this one in, the game is over. If Eclipse puts this one in, we have one more point.
Exciting times.
So, I don't know if you've been counting, but that was quite a few holds in a row. Neither team gave up a downwind break. The wind has calmed a little bit, so it's starting to become a little bit easier, but it's still a upwind, downwind situation. And so both teams, just their O-lines have been just absolutely perfect. Moving upfield, not that they're not turning it over, but they're fighting tooth and nail like you saw in that last point, laying out, getting blocks, and just keeping this game going as long as they can.
Coach Hayduk wiping the disc for his player, making sure it's perfect for his pull. That's dedication.
And here we go. So Hunter Juhas going to be pulling here for the Eclipse team. Toro, offensive line, back out here once again. They've been so good so far, moving the disc upwind. And if they can do it one more time, they will secure themselves this gold medal.
You know, Eclipse is going to be fighting as hard as they fought all game, if not harder. They do not want Toro to score.
Justin Ray collects his disc to Campbell Armstrong. Armstrong now hits Louis Wang.
Great block, but is still caught by the Toro
Lewis, great focus there to catch that one after the deflection. Justin Ray's swing now just a little bit too far. And here's Eclipse's chance. Streaking down the field, it's Nicholas Chang. And Justin Tung's just going to put it out to him.
And he brings it in.
And he's going to make the grab, and it's 10s. It's a 10-goal game for Eclipse. So Toro's still up 14-10, but Eclipse is still fighting. And you see the energy they have now. They know if they can keep scoring here, this game could go their way.
As we said before, it is really hard to be the team that only needs to score 2 points. And it looked like, you know, Toro was working it nicely. One slight miscue and gave Eclipse the opportunity to go shoot for the end zone. They did and came up big. You can hear the crowd chanting BC, BC.
Yeah, a lot of firepower. Like you said, 400 athletes at just one BC tryout. You can imagine there are so many deep BC teams here. They're cheering on their brethren, and you love seeing that, right? From the same region. Even though they play each other often, they're rivals on the field. Off the field, they're all buddies, they're all friends. And here they are supporting their boys in this big, big moment in the game. Hunter Juhas once again ready to pull for Eclipse. Another fantastic pull from him. Collected by Nathan Ambrose. Flipped over to Campbell Armstrong. Campbell Armstrong's going to hit Louis Wang. Louis Wang hits Eli Park on the far side.
And there's a call on the field.
Looks like it was a pick call. Oh, no. Yeah, it was a pick call indeed, and so the disc will go back to Louis Wang. Disc coming in, stalling one. Oh, Louis Wang's shot is just a little bit too far for Jaden Prescott-Brown. So Eclipse again with another chance here to force some more points in this game. We'll have Bridgeland Powell picking up the disc for Eclipse. Bridgeland Powell looking reset. It's a little bit high, but Nicholas Chang there's there on the collect.
And there's a call on the field.
Looks like it was foul call, so I imagine Nicholas Chang will keep it here.
Stall is coming in at 2.
Nicholas Chang is going to boost it here, looking for Hunter Juhas, who has been so strong in the air. A lot of players getting up there. 4 different players there.
There's a foul
on the reception.
The observers have discussed. They know what they're going to rule if they are asked for a ruling.
Yeah, we imagine the players will talk about it first, see what they decide on. Okay, they're going to treat it as a foul contest. Very fair ruling here as the disc will be returned to Nicholas Chang, I believe.
Dahl will be coming in at 4.
Nicholas Chang will go in with a nice backhand around. It's a little poppy. Oh, and it's unfortunately going to go over both receivers. But Nathan Ambrose was pressuring Justin Tung there. So Campbell Armstrong, unmarked, is going to catch that one. Nice swing over to Louis Wang. He's going to juice it, looking for Wilkie Lewis or Jaden Prescott Brown. And Wilkie Lewis has the sky, has the goal, and gives Toro that gold with the 15th score of the game. Wow, Fish, what did we see here in this game?
Well, that was amazing. I think, in the first half when Toro was just dominating every single matchup, they were able to bring down those floaty passes. They were able to fight a little bit harder. They were being a little bit cleaner on offense. Their zone was working really well, and they just got too big of a lead for Eclipse to be able to come back in the second half. They tried their hardest. They did a really great job coming back. It was very close. They challenged a lot on the defense, and they were much cleaner on offense. It just wasn't enough.
Absolutely. Eclipse was playing just lights out in that second half, going blow for blow with Toro, ready to answer the call, ready to one-up them there. They actually managed to win that second half by 2 points, I believe, in the end. So just a fantastic fight from them, and had they just had a smoother first half, this could be them celebrating the gold. Either way, congrats to Toro on a great win. Fantastic job, and congrats to Eclipse for making it this far, bringing BC back to the finals, and next year they're going to come back twice as hot, twice as hungry, and ready to take it all. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been Bretton Tan.
Allison Fisher.
And we hope to see you guys perhaps for the adult division or next year at the junior division once again.
Thank you.